Hey guys, welcome back to Sustainable Living. I am really excited to be back home from up in Wyoming. For the past month, I've been up in Wyoming assisting with the fire project in fighting the Mullen Fire. So basically, I drove 14 hours straight to get up to Laramie, Wyoming to assist with this fire. And when I came into Wyoming, obviously it was late at night when I drove in, and it was actually pretty darn creepy to come in and see the mountain on fire, and it was just an absolute glow. Some of these photos that I'm going to show you were actually the next morning when I woke up. I decided to take some high definition photos of the fire, and when I was driving, these pictures actually were probably 3 to 4 times brighter than that. When I showed up, they were in the process of actually evacuating the first camp that they had set up. We ended up staying at the National Guard Armory for 3 days until they could figure out where our next camp would be. They ended up finding us another camp out by a lake, and we stayed there for roughly probably 10 to 12 days. And then when the wind really got bad, when we were having 85-mile-an-hour gusts.
What? West to southwest winds 45 to 55 miles an hour with gusts up to 85 miles an hour possible.
So there you heard it, the craziness out here. Flipping 85-mile-an-hour gusts. They decided to go ahead and evacuate us again and take us into town a little bit closer to one of the rodeo pavilions in town. I gotta say that I found it very interesting that in Laramie, Wyoming, when I first got in there, I went to go find a place to eat, and where I come from, there's not a lot of bars, but I found it very funny that I couldn't find, there were actually more places to buy alcohol on the corners than there were to actually buy food. So no disrespect or anything, but it was definitely a little bit of a change for me to try to find something to eat and rather finding a liquid diet. I want to give a shout out to all those guys that I worked with. I really do appreciate the friends that I made up there, the new acquaintances that I came acquainted with. It was a great opportunity to meet new people and work with new people. So I got to tell you guys the quick story on how I managed to come across this opportunity. It was kind of funny. We ended up hiring a crane operator to come unload a load of logs. We weren't going to buy a load of logs for firewood because we have so much firewood on the property. But it's kind of funny about intuition. We just kind of had that thought that we should go ahead and buy these logs, even though we really didn't need them. And I just kind of rationed in my mind that it would be an opportunity for my boys to cut some wood and split it and make a little bit of money this winter. So I was thinking in my mind I was going to give my boys an opportunity to make money. Well, the crane operator ended up being one of the owners of this weed wash company, and when he showed up, unloaded my logs, he offered me a job. The next day I was on my way to Laramie, Wyoming. So it was kind of funny how that all came about, and it was a blessing in disguise, and we were glad that we were able to cross paths the way that we did. It's funny how life happens like that sometimes. Things just happen the way they're supposed to be, and just trust sometimes that things work out the way they're supposed to work out. And we were glad that this worked out in our favor. I want to give a special thanks to the family that hired me on, the Boone family. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to come up and work for you guys. I want to thank everyone that has contributed to this video via videos and photos. I want to thank everyone that has made this possible for me to share this video with you guys. This was a first-time experience for me to be on a fire, and I had a great experience working with the team up there. I learned a lot about firefighting, that there are multiple disciplines that go into fighting a fire. Now, I was not directly on the fire and fighting firsthand with the fire, but I was part of the team in assisting the fire crews. My job basically consisted of washing fire trucks when they came in or when they were demobilizing to go home. Basically what I did was I washed the undercarriage of the vehicles and the wheel wells to make sure that there was no cross-contamination of weeds being spread across the country. Basically my day consisted of waking up around 6 in the morning and starting our washing process from 7 o'clock in the morning and going till 8 o'clock at night. Now, we didn't wash 100% of the time. Basically, we would have busy periods of time, typically in the morning and in the late afternoon when the vehicles were going home or coming off the fire. Vehicles would drive onto a large mat where we would then have our pressure sprayers pulling water out of a swimming pool to then spray the vehicles off. That mat would then be angled at a correct slope that would go down into a sump pump. That sump pump would then pump that dirty water into 2 different holding tanks where a gray water individual would then pump that water out. Now, our job only consisted of washing the undercarriage of the vehicle. We found great enjoyment washing these individuals' vehicles completely and making them happy on their way home. And it was great to see the smiles of these firefighters being dog tired and ready to go home dirty. And it was just one little thing that we could do to give back to these guys that were front lines fighting these fires. It was great to see some of the fire crews from my hometown area, Pine Top Lakeside Fire Department and Timber Mesa. It was great to see those guys. We also were able to see some of the hotshot crews from the Apache tribe. It was great to talk to them and see some of the guys from my hometown. I want to make a special thanks to the water tender gentleman that I worked with over the past month, Wayne. Thank you very much for the hat. Thank you for the great conversations. Thank you for being a great friend on this fire. And I want to make a special thanks to your wife. Thanks a lot for the spice cake. That was absolutely wonderful. Your husband didn't have to share that with us. I know it was your guys' anniversary, but I really appreciated the cake that you shared with us. That was wonderful. Just wanted to say you have a great husband, and I had a great time working with him. Now, I gotta say that Wyoming is definitely a windy state. Those of you that have been to Wyoming or from Wyoming know what I'm talking about. I had never been up there, and I thought where I lived took the cake for being the windy city capital of the United States of America.
This is what we're gonna deal with. Porta potties are falling over. Tents are getting ripped up. Blown across Timbuktu. Welcome to Wyoming.
Wyoming definitely takes the cake for being the most windiest place that I've been in the United States. The wind got so bad, 3 of the yurts that the Forest Service rented out to be put up were blown down. The crazy thing is they had 1 office staff member in one of those yurts when the yurt got taken out by the wind. Fortunately, that gal was not hurt. So basically, I slept in a tent each night. Sleeping in a tent was not a difficult thing for me. The difficult thing was having the wind basically rattle your tent all night long. By listening to that sound all night, you can see how sleep deprivation can easily set in real quick and it wears you out. Now, after working 14 days on the fire, I was required to take 2 days off, which was great to get some respite and go into town. So during my time in Laramie, I was able to stay at the Hilton and get a good night's rest and get a good clean shower and spend some time in Laramie. I was able to take some photos of the university. I was highly impressed by some of the architectural designs of the buildings that they had on campus. So I took some photos of those, and I hope you enjoy those. One of my favorite things that I found, though, on the University of Wyoming was they had a huge chandelier of elk sheds. Those that follow my channel know that I love to find elk sheds. I had to take a video of the elk chandelier. Even though I couldn't go into the building, it was locked down due to all this virus stuff that's going on. I did my best to get a photo shot of this beautiful elk chandelier that was there. At the end of my second 2-week stint, the fire had become contained enough that they started demobilizing most of everyone that was on the fire. Now, the family that I worked with, they had another weed wash crew that was down in Colorado working the Cameron Peaks fire. And I had the opportunity to go down there and work 2 days on that wash mat to give those 2 individuals a break from their 14-day working stay. We were stationed in Loveland, Colorado at the Budweiser Pavilion. As you can see by some of these photos, it got really dark and grim, and the ash was falling down quite bad there in Loveland, Colorado. After I gave those guys their break, I was able to travel back home, and basically this last storm system that came in that dropped in about, I think 11 inches of snow I think Loveland got. But as you can see by some of these photos, even though they got so much precipitation, that will not put out the fire. They'll still have hot spots in that fire for probably weeks to come until they get a greater amount of snow to put these fires completely out. So overall, guys, I had a wonderful experience going up to Wyoming and assisting with these fires. I just really want to express my appreciation to all those people that I worked with, the people I became acquainted with, some people that I would even call friends now. I appreciate them and their kindness and all that they've done, and it just really made the trip so much more pleasurable. And I just got to say, in this time of crisis and time of uncertainty with viruses and all this craziness, it was just a great breath of reprieve for me to go out and to meet really good people, just quality, high quality people. So much to be grateful for, and so many great people in this country, and it was a great opportunity to work with them.
Hey guys, good morning. What's up? So every morning I come in and I get breakfast and lunch for the other guy I work with, and then he picks up at dinner at night. Anyways, my little red car, this breakfast crew always makes fun of me, saying it's the little fire engine, and they say, "Oh, if you have a siren on that thing, we're gonna laugh so hard." So I got a joke for him today.
Oh, yeah! The little fire engine that could!
Stay tuned, guys. I've got a lot of things that I'm still working on for videos. I'm back in the saddle, so I'm gonna try to get back to my original goal of posting videos each week. And last but not least, I want to thank every one of you folks that have been following us and watching our channel. You guys just make it wonderful for us and just give great feedback, and we're just excited to have you join us in our YouTube journey. So some of the local elementary schools in Laramie, Wyoming, they ended up making a bunch of thank you cards and drawing pictures for the firefighters and all the crews, and that's what I want to end this video with, and just appreciation to them.